Hi guys, this time I will go over questions that you have to do it by hand. Now this one is like very easy, so I will go over this, but two questions may be a little bit challenging, so focus on the inverse function and like something I'll tell you, okay? So question number 4. Every year, like you blah blah blah, you know this one already. It says varies inversely, right? Whenever you look at this, it's gonna be y times x equals y times x. Whenever you see word varies inversely, okay? Now remember, when you hear this one, but this one, unlike y times x equals y times x, which you have to memorize, instead of this, they use c and n. So instead of using y and x, I'm gonna use c times n equals c times n. Now, c represents the cost, n represents the people, number of people. So do you see 20 people? That's n, so I'm gonna use 20 for the n times. And do you see this 50? That's a cost, so I'm gonna use 50 equals. And they don't give me another number. They don't give me any other number. So that's about it. I'm gonna use c times n. And the question is asking, find the equation that represents this situation, which means it's going to be one of this. But as you can see, everything has c equals, right? So very simple. You got to solve for c. So 50 times 20, if you do it, that's going to be 1,000 equals c times n. But you want to solve for c because everything has c equals. So I'm going to divide each number by what? N. So that disappears. So I have 1,000 over n equals c, which is A. Now, if this question gives you another number, let's say like you get like 40 into the C, so like you got 50 times 20 times like 40 times n. In that case, what you gotta do is, if they give you like 3 numbers like that, you gotta do menu 3-1. All right, it's very simple. All right. Question number 5, it says, what is the exponential form of the equation of this one, right? You gotta change this one into this exponential form. What do? Very simple, always circle the base. What is our base in this case? 5. And what do? Beautiful curve. Always you circle the base and circle other side of the equal like this and point to the number inside here. So base become a base, which is 5. What's another number that I circled? 2x minus 1, that's going to be your exponent, equal to, what's the remaining number? 10. So that's going to be the answer. So your answer is going to be D. One step, very simple, right? So I'm expecting you guys to get right on these 2 questions, okay? It's very simple, very easy, just one step. If you want to change this one back to like this one, then in the case, what is our base? 5. So base become a base, like if you do it, so opposite of exponential is what? Log, base 5. What's the another number that I circle? Other side of the equal sign, which is 10, is equal to, what is it pointing at? 2x minus 1. That's how you change it back, okay? Which is this one. Do you see it? I got this same thing back. So you must know how to do back and forth. So keep that in mind and practice it. What's another number that we have to do it by hand? Let's see. Question number 16. It says find the domain of this, right? So you're gonna have these questions like this. In that case, domain means you have to factor bottom. Remember how to factor this one. It's gonna be what? 2x squared minus 13x minus 24. So how do I factor? There's a number in front of x squared. So what you have to do is you gotta move to the bottom and then multiply. You get x squared minus 13x minus 24 times 2 is 48. Now let's factor it. Negative 48 on the top, negative 13 on the bottom. What are the 2 number combination? Is it 16 and 3? Yeah, 16 and 3. And negative 16, because I want to get negative 13. So I get x minus 16, x plus 3. And after you factor this, you have to divide each number by what you slipped over. In this case, it's going to be 2. So I'm going to divide each number by 2 and simplify. So you get 16 over 2 is going to be 8. 3 over 2 is going to be what? you cannot simplify further. That's about it. And last step to factor. If you have any denominator, you're gonna move it in front of x. So first one, I got nothing, so I will just write it like this. And this one is what? 2x plus 3. So this is what? I will copy this one down. 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. But now I just factored the denominator, which is x minus 8, 2x plus 3. Let me highlight this. Yeah, now I gotta find domain. So domain is gonna be the numbers that cannot be equal to opposite of this sign. So here, remember, x cannot be equal to, here, do you see what's the opposite of negative 8? Positive 8. What's the opposite of positive 3? Negative 3. But there's the 2 in front of x, so you have to divide by that number. So x cannot be equal to 8, comma, negative 3 over 2. So how do you find domain? Negative infinity 2, which one is a small number? Negative 3 over 2. Union, negative 3 over 2. The second number is what? 8. Union, a to infinity. It's very simple, which is C. All right, next. 21. It's an inverse function, right? So I telling you, whenever you see this one, you're gonna do what? You're gonna find x and y. I want you guys to know this one. So here, you flip x and y. Okay, step number 1 is always flipping x and y, okay? You cannot use shortcut for this. So let's do this. Let's solve for y, which means you are gonna move all these numbers to the other side except for y. It's always plus minus first. So I'm gonna do minus 3 first. Okay, so I will have x minus 3 equals 2 times e to the y minus 1. Now, if you want to solve for y, before you get rid of e, this 2 is bothering you, so you gotta get rid of this 2. How? Divide by 2 both sides. That disappears. So you get x minus 3 over 2 is equal to e to the y minus 1. Now you want to solve for y again. I'm keep saying it. Now you want to get rid of e. But what's the opposite of e? Natural log, both sides. That disappears. So you get natural log of x minus 3 over 2 is equal to, now you bring it down, y minus 1. What's the last step you have to do? Plus 1 both sides. That disappears. So you get natural log of x minus 3 over 2 plus 1 is equal to y. So what's the answer for this one? It's gonna be D. Now it's very simple, right? There's a review number 1 and review number 2 are gonna be about this, so you can practice, okay? Number 22. What about this one? So again, same thing, you switch x and y. So it's gonna be x equals 6 times log base 7 y minus 2. So I just copied this one, but I just switched x and y, okay? Now let's solve for y. Always plus minus first, but do you see any plus minus at the end? Nothing. And then you skip that and multiply, divide. There's a 6, so how can I get rid of this 6? Divide by 6. If it is a fraction, you multiply by the bottom number, okay? Now, you want to solve for y, which means this log is bothering you. How can I get rid of this? Beautiful curve. What is our base in this case? 7, right? It's a beautiful curve, always the opposite side of equal. So base become a base, which is 7 become a base. Another number that is circled becomes an exponent, equals, what do I have left over? Y minus 2. What's the last step I gotta do? Plus 2 both sides. So I will write it down here. It's gonna be 7 to the x over 6 power plus 2 equals y. Do not put plus 2 on here. That's not true. This plus 2 is separate, okay? So answer to this one is gonna be B. All right, I think that's the last question. Yeah, again, if you need any help, make sure you send me the remind. Then I will try to create another video for this. Okay. Right. See you guys. Love you. Bye.